Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Now, with ISIS continuing to utilize social media in order to push their ideology and to recruit new members, governments are trying to figure out how to stifle their reach. And of course, that comes with censoring the internet. Now, in the UK, if Conservatives win the election, they are set to announce new extremist disruption orders. Their plans to strengthen counterterrorism. They say extremists will have to get posts on Facebook and Twitter approved in advance by the police under these sweeping rules. Now, these plans are going to allow judges to ban people from broadcasting or protesting in certain places, as well as associating with specific people if they represent a threat to the functioning of democracy. Now, these plans are to be brought in if the Conservatives win the election in May, and they are part of a wide-ranging set of rules to strengthen the government's counterterrorism strategy. Extremist disruption orders would apply if a judge is convinced that an individual is carrying out their activities for the purpose of overthrowing democracy. So where do we go from here? Who gets to decide who is an extremist, who has extremist ideologies? David Cameron just said that just questioning the government is the same as joining ISIS. He just said that at his UN speech. Now, Twitter has been very busy censoring accounts that they say are pro-ISIS. Of course, they're joining Facebook and YouTube, who have been actively engaged in combating ISIS, and they're spreading their message all throughout social media. So I think that obviously this is something that a lot of people can agree on. Nobody wants to see gruesome images of them beheading people and then recruiting new jihadis like the guy in Oklahoma who was basically copycat jihadi. But now, basically, in the name of terrorism, they're saying anyone who has any conflicting views of democracy has to get permission to post things. And people are basically asking them to censor the internet, all because of ISIS and what ISIS is doing and spreading the message. Now we're basically asking for the internet kill switch. It's the old, they hate us for our freedom, so let's just go ahead and give them up. Now, if you want to know what this looks like, just take a look at what's happening in Hong Kong. They are having huge protests there, calling for democracy and political reform. Thousands of residents have taken to the streets to fight for this. So, of course, the government there sees these protests as a threat and needs to shut them down and censor them lest they cause a ripple effect throughout the rest of China. Now, we already know that the Chinese government maintains very strict controls over what can be seen on the internet and social media. They have a firewall that extends to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Google is rarely accessible. But Hong Kong typically does not fall under these same restrictions. Well, now any news articles, social media posts, and images about Hong Kong's pro-democracy protests are being heavily censored behind China's notorious firewall. Instagram has been blocked since Sunday, and of course, no media outlets showed the intense clash with police and protesters. Instead, if you do search for the Hong Kong protests, you're going to see blissful images of residents picnicking in the park. And they also, if you do end up finding an article about the protests, it's going to have a pro-government slant. So that's all that's being allowed to come through. But don't forget, we have plenty of people in our own government who are actively calling for Chinese-style internet kill switch and active internet controls. So take advantage of the open internet while you can. Become a Prison Planet subscriber and share all of this forbidden information with your family and friends. As always, you can share your username and password with up to 11 people at the same time. That is 11 people out there that are fighting the info war. And as always, you help support this operation. Thanks for tuning into the show tonight. We'll see you here tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Darren McBreen, and here are some of today's top stories that are breaking right now at Infowars.com.
The Centers for Disease Control confirmed today that Ebola has hit the United States as the Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital in Dallas admits their first victim. The patient's recent travel history suggests that the victim arrived from one of the African countries hit by the virus. The Reverend Al Sharpton may pick the next attorney general. The former coke dealer and government informant is reportedly engaged in immediate conversations with the White House to negotiate a successor to Eric Holder. And a whistleblower releases secret tapes exposing Federal Reserve corruption, as the cozy relationship between banks too big to jail and the privately owned Federal Reserve can no longer be called just a conspiracy theory.
For more information, plus updates and breaking news, go to Infowars.com.
I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. And I know this for a fact. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. Take advantage of this unprecedented 30% off Super Detox Special at InfoWarsLife.com.
You are watching the Infowars Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. Members can share their passcodes with up to 11 other people, and your support is helping us defend liberty worldwide.